Alrighty, people. How we doing? How we living? How we feeling?
Come on.
It's a great day to be with you. It's a great day to be great. And we're excited to be here with you. And obviously, National Championship game, we are less than 2 hours away from. So we'll be live all the way up until the Natty starts. Reviewing people's teams and just talking Dynasty football. We appreciate you for being here. Jordan dropped in earlier to say, just dropping in before the stream starts and saying Ben Johnson's a baby back bitch. Pretty much saying F you to everything he did in the last 4 years. In division is diabolical. Thank you. So obviously Ben Johnson, now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And obviously it's been a rough week for Lions fans because I really liked Lions as a team. You know, I thought overall they're a really fun team to cheer for, but some of the people who cover them in the media were super arrogant this week, and it all just kind of fell apart. Still the best season for Lions fans ever, right? Because it's the #1 seed, so much success, but now Ben Johnson leaves, and you have to start asking questions about, you know, Jared Goff, and what does this mean without Ben Johnson? Who can replace him? So, yeah, definitely interesting, but Chicago's, I think, going to draft Ashton Genty at number 10 overall now.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. You see what they did with Monty. You see what they did with Jahmyr Gibbs. Chicago at 10 just makes sense. Unless somebody jumps him like Dallas, knowing that, hey, I need to go up and get somebody. I need to go up and get a running back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is exciting. That message from Jordan just reminded me of, have you seen the John Gruden show? He was like, I'm just calling in because I'm just fucking upset. And then like he goes on a rant and it's like complaints. He's like,
No.
but I'm also just calling in. And like the whole time. It's just, anyways. It's really funny.
No, that's where he lets people like vent, basically, right?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
That's actually funny. I mean, Barstool's done really well getting him on board. I'm just letting people know that we're reviewing their team on stream, so they have a message and they're like aware that it's happening. So let me just get a couple of these messages out. I'll send it to the first 4, and then we'll see how we go with the rest of the night. But we do appreciate y'all for being here. What's up, Artie? What's up, Brizzleton? Welcome in. Faulty says good night from Brazil. Damn.
Hey.
Okay. Mr. 305 worldwide.
What's happening in Brazil, man?
By the way, yes, I know Pitbull's not from Brazil, so I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's not. I know. D Stone, this is the opposite side of it.
Yo, we got Ben Johnson.
So this is the opposite side of the spectrum. We saw Jordan earlier really upset about it, and now D Stone's like, we got Ben Johnson, let's go, baby. Yeah, have to be happy if you're a Bears fan right now. I mean, Ben Johnson looked like one of the best hires in last year's cycle. He decided to not even show up for the second in-person interview for Washington. We sent his ass home. Sorry, Ben. Not sorry. No, but it's good to be here with you guys. We are excited to be here. We're going to be reviewing some people's Dynasty teams. Do us a favor, hit that like button on today's stream as we begin. Be reviewing teams all the way up until kickoff, and we'll do a rookie mock draft tomorrow when there's more time. Tomorrow night, right? So,
yeah, tomorrow night.
All right. We are going to get to Shane's team here first, but if you guys are out there and you're wondering how to get your team reviewed, it's very, very simple. The first step is, I mean, there's 2 options. The first option is by becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. And, you know, Badaki and I wholeheartedly believe this is the best way to do it, because not only do you get the Dynasty team playbook, the live review, our 2025 rookie report. I know it says 2024 rookie report. You get all that and the premium tools on the website, right? I mean, our 2025 rookie report version 1's already up on the site. Version 2 is in the works right now. Probably after the Senior Bowl, we'll get that all worked out and figured out. You get obviously everyone's rankings, the prospect models, the My Team feature, the trade calculator, all the premium tools, and of course you also get a team playbook. And then if you are to buy any reviews in the future or anything from the Flock store, you get a discount on it as well as a member. But yeah, again, becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND is the best bang for your buck. Now, the other option is to just buy one a la carte. So in this world, let's say your promo code with someone else, or you don't want to become a member, then you can still go to, this link that is pinned in the chat right now. It'll take you to a website that looks like this. All right. And all you need to do is go to team review. Once you're there, I would suggest linking your team up first. If you don't have a sleeper league or MFL, you can leave it screenshots and you can leave your ID in the chat. But if your league is already linked up, hit continue. Make sure you choose the right team. Make sure your draft picks are correct. Hit continue again, and then you'll see Zach and Badaki from Fantasyland. The baseline tier is an offline, which some people prefer because they don't want their league mates to see the review. The other option is by just paying $10 more, you can get your team live streamed along with the team playbook, if that makes sense. So appreciate you guys for being here with us. Now that we're all on the same page, Bucky for MVP, Grant says, let's go, baby. Let's go. Yes, you get one Dynasty team review when you sign up, guys, and then you'll have discounts on any future ones that you might may or may not want to use. All right, let's go to Shane here. Shane Lee says, may the force be with us. And by the way, just quickly, I mean, I do, I get, not everybody wants to spend, what is it, $97 for a year, which is $8 a month to support. I can understand that. But I wholeheartedly believe we've never offered more. And I don't think you really can get more from supporting an individual creator than what we offer. I mean, what we do on the Flock Fantasy site, honestly, is pretty incredible. You get rankings, Dynasty Superflex, redraft, one quarterback. You get the prospect model, which, I mean, this just has like decades and decades of information about all these prospects. You get the My Teams feature, right, which you can link up with however many amount of teams that you have. You get the trade finder, which shows you actual trades from all different leagues, right? You get the trade calculator, which if you're a member, obviously you can choose exactly whose rankings you want to use, or you can use expert consensus. I mean, alongside of the 2025 rookie report, alongside of the team review, I mean, I'm pretty proud of what we're able to offer,
Yeah, we definitely offer a lot. And like Zach said, you get a lot for what you're paying for, which is awesome here.
All right, let's start with Shane Lee 412.
Yeah, he says, hey guys, got this team reviewed last season, now in year 2 of full rebuild, looking to see what moves trade you would suggest to help on how to build out this roster to compete in 26. He has 2025 picks, 103, 106, 109, 203, 303, and the 310, and a bunch of 4th and 5ths here. So it's an MFL league, which is screenshots, but he also put the ID so we can look at keep, trade, cut, which is very helpful, Shane. If you're here with us or maybe watching later, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, any MFL users definitely include screenshots in your league ID.
Yeah, 100%. All right, well, let's have a look at this team then.
I actually have it up on KTC, by the way.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a super flex 12 team start 10, which means it's the middle ground. It's a typical, not typical, but your 3 flex. You can start with 3 flexes in this league.
Yeah,
all right,
super
let's have a look
start
at the
10.
quarterback.
I'll put that in the chat so we're all on the same page as well. But yeah, number 2 overall. You see that on the same page? In the rankings right now.
I'm seeing number 4 with players only. So I'll have to do full picks.
Full team
let me do full teams and picks. Okay, it comes up like that for me. Just player. Okay. Anyways, at the quarterback position, Jayden Daniels, Drake May, Bo Nix, and Justin Fields. I think this is a great quarterback room.
Really good.
I mean, you got 2. You hit on 2 young quarterbacks. Technically 3 young quarterbacks, even though Drake May hasn't technically hit as of yet. We haven't seen too much of him. What we saw in the second half was really good and encouraging. Especially getting a new head coach there. At the running back position, Zach Charbonnet, Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks, Tyler Algier, and that's it. I mean, honestly,
so, last year's running back class really didn't work out outside of Bucky, so it's
outside of Bucky, which is unlucky. Tough. So that's just tough. At the wide receiver position, remember you can start up to 5 wide receivers or 5 running backs in this league. Marvin Harrison Jr., Jalen McMillan, Shakira, Marvin Mims, Jalen Coker, Troy Franklin, and the list goes on.
You can actually start up to 6 because he just put it in there. It's 5 flexes, 1 wide receiver, so 6 wide receivers total. Actually.
Okay, Shane is here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
2 quarterbacks, 1 running back, 1. So start to 5.
Mm-hmm. Sorry,
Okay.
continue.
And at the tight end position, Dalton, Noah Gray, etc., etc. there. So not the strongest running back room, not the strongest tight end room, not
Really,
the depth that
your
we want.
quarterbacks are your strength, I'd say.
Yeah, not the depth that we want, which is unfortunate. But we are here to help, especially with all that draft capital as well.
Yeah, which I'm writing down right now for us. And it's unfortunate. The last year's running back class just has not panned out at all. I still think it was a decent class, but clearly just the situation in Carolina with Jonathan Brooks and James Conner getting an extension. I mean, it couldn't have gone much worse for
both of those guys.
Those top options in last year's draft. Yeah.
Yeah, Chuba Hubbard and James Conner.
Yeah.
Shane, just correct us if we're wrong here, because you did send a screenshot. Oh no, you sent a screenshot of the draft order, which is great. I was about to say, which is awesome. So you have the 3rd overall pick, and then the first order is the guy with the 1st overall pick. Okay, which in reality we can see because of keep trade cut.
It's a pretty good amount of draft capital there. I mean, that's definitely a lot to work with. A lot of it is this year, obviously, but 103, 106, 109, that's 3 first-round picks. Obviously, the 2nd, 3rd. I don't really care about the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But then in 26, he still has his own 1st, which is great. It's not like he's sold out or anything to focus on one class or another. Dalton Kincaid, another huge disappointment this season. Troy Franklin, I put in that same boat, but to a lesser extent, less expectations, So yeah, draft capital grade, I'd put like an A flat, but overall team, I mean, again, thinking about this team right now, a start 10. You're starting Daniels May or Daniels Nix. You don't really have a starting running back, quite frankly, but choose 2 of those guys. Then Marvin, I guess Jalen McMillan. And then Kincaid, you don't have a starter at tight end we really love either. We're still very much full rebuild with this. Even with the weaknesses at wide receiver and tight end, even if you hit on 2 running backs in this class, I don't think you're really competing straight away.
Yeah, because you still need the depth at wide receiver.
Yeah, so I don't think this is a 1-year punt. I still think we're full rebuild, but I know he mentioned he wanted to compete in 26, so he wants to be a 1-year punt. We can try and figure out the best way to try and accelerate this rebuild, but Kincaid probably killed you, man. I mean, we had high expectations for him. I don't know anyone who had low expectations. I just think he was overall one of the most disappointing players at all last year. Shane says, yeah, I took quarterbacks last season with lack of quarterbacks in this year's class. I love that. What's up, Macy? Welcome in. Appreciate you, man. So obviously the strength's at quarterback here. Overall team grade. This is C flat.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. This is a C team for me. I think what was really holding you here is obviously the quarterbacks, Marin, and your draft capital, which is really great. I mean, sure, if you can hit on 2 running backs this year, and then maybe get a tight end in the 2nd round, or the late first. If you get the tight end, like obviously, we'll walk through this, but if you get a running back with the 103 and the 106 and a tight end at the 109, that already changes a lot. But you still are lacking at the wide receiver position. Yeah. But yes, I think that is a
awesome to see that he's got his draft order here for us to look at. I mean, that's great to have for these MFL type of leagues. But yeah, we have a while to go. I think this is full rebuilds. I think you could force a 1-year punt, but I don't know that you'll have the depth to really outlive that. Honestly, if these running backs hit, you would be probably a 1-year punt at this point, but they have not for the most part. Full rebuild, C flat team, a lot of work to do. As far as your untouchables, I think that's your quarterbacks. That's Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix or May, one of those guys.
Yeah, I'll put Bo Nix. I think if you think of value, well, you can. Well, actually, what is the community thinking about Bo Nix right now? Because hypothetically, if we were to go down the road of trying to sell one of these quarterbacks to try and get as much value, technically it would be Drake May still that you can get the most out of.
Is he the highest valued on KTC? What's the difference
Yeah,
between
he's
the two?
QB. I mean, look, it's not that much. It's QB 8 and QB 10.
Okay. Yeah.
But Drake May is 2 years younger than Bo Nix as well.
Yeah.
So
Um,
that's where I would go.
yeah. Yeah. I think I just don't love the quarterback 3, so I don't feel like we have to trade one of these names, but we definitely can.
No.
It's definitely a way that we can go. Like, if you wanted to tier down, if you want 1 year punt, like, that is the way you would do it. You know what I mean, Badaki? Like, you can tier down from May or Nix. That's if you want the 1 year punt. I mean, we'd prefer to hold them for right now, I'd say, unless a haul comes up, because again, I think you're forcing a 1 year punt right now, given just this class. If this was last year's class, I think we'd be like, all right. I mean, we had much higher expectations for last year's class. At the 103, you were looking at Daniels and Neighbors at this point, right? The 106, you were thinking about another quarterback or trading it for an absolute haul, and the 109 was Brian Thomas. So it's just a different class right now, different expectations. As far as holds,
I put Marvin and Jalen McMillan. I feel like you can't sell Marvin, and we want to keep Jalen going into next year. Obviously, another name that you can put there is Jalen Coker, which I know we've been saying a lot for the team reviews.
And Trey Benson as well, I'd say.
Yeah, and Trey Benson.
You can
and for drops.
Who'd you put? I mean, Isaiah Williams, you can drop. Tyler Scott, Darius Davis, Mason Tippett.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that you can
Chase
drop
McClellan.
here, especially because of and since you're here with us, Sean.
Ryman.
Yeah, you're gonna see. I'll put 4 drops that you can drop, like Chase, Tip, Darius, Bub Means. Drop those guys, but still keep Jalen Coker, Trey Benson, Marvin Harrison, obviously Jalen McMillan.
You can
as we
easily
try and
drop
build them.
all the names that I've just highlighted. Now, it won't have all those names on the graphic like Badaki said, but that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 names you can drop easily and make space for this draft capital if you need to do so. All right, so at the 103, I mean, my suggestion is probably going to be to trade back from the 103, but if you were to stick and pick, you're in this range of, like, you know, your Hamptons, your Caleb Johnsons, your Hendersons, your Luther Burdens. I don't think Tet will be there, but Tet McMillan, and then the quarterbacks. And that's really the same range at the 106 between those players. At the 109, it's more like Henderson, Judkins.
Maybe you squeeze a tight end there
Buka.
potentially.
Yep, tight end. So Loveland and Warren, and then the quarterbacks maybe. At the 203, I think you're probably looking at a running back, or could be a Jalen Royals there. Could be a Devin Neal, like that kind of range. You know, Giddens. Let me remind myself of my rankings. And by the way, I'd like to add Matthew Golden to the conversation after. I know I messaged you about scouting him, but
Yeah.
I think he's wow. I mean, he's going to be my guy if everyone isn't as high on him as I am. I have him inside my top 5 amongst wide receivers.
Shane said we'd love to move Knicks for another young wide receiver and pick.
Okay, so we can look at doing that.
Okay. You can look at moving
At the 303, again, this is all true BPA. We don't really know right now. Right now, it's not going to be helpful to have any conversations about those late picks.
Yeah.
Now that is if you stick and pick, right? Option 2, which I might prefer, is using specifically the 103 to trade back for a haul if you can, right? Maximize the value of each of these picks. So, for example, the 103. We're going to use that, and we want to stay in the 104. Well, you already have the 106, so it's the 104 to the 107, but the 105 we can't really include. So let's try the 103, and let's look at the team that has the 104, which is Gooey Chewbacca.
Gooey Baka.
He currently has Jameson, Mike, Tyreek, Kyron, Gibbs, Cook, Brown, Etienne.
So this guy built a lot of running backs: Gibbs, Kyron, Cook, Chase, Travis.
I would tear down one spot for a lot of these players, like any of his top 3 wide receivers. I might do it for Etienne alone because I'm staying in the same tier.
104 in Etienne, you saying?
Yeah. As like a simple little buy low. Would you do it? Okay, no, none of these tight ends really mean anything. I mean,
No.
It looks like he has a second. Maybe what we could do is 103 and a 26 second, and then send the 103 plus a 20, let's say 27 third, so you have enough time to make that 3rd round pick not too early. The other one, I mean, what do you think about 104 plus Travis Etienne? I think at that point you might as well just hold and see if you can maximize value closer to the draft, which, you know, we wouldn't suggest doing this before the draft anyway, but
Yeah.
the other option, which I think is actually smarter here, is 103 plus Zach Charbonnet, and then the 104 plus Chase Brown, because I have my own concerns around Chase Brown. I doubt the Chase Brown owner does this, but again, just see if you can maximize that value. At the 105, that is Kyler Wren, which is currently team 4.
This is by the way, this is a Star Wars league, and I appreciate that, Shane.
I was noticing the trends there.
Yeah, I mean, CD3PO, may the force be with us, Dark Helmet, Kyler Wren. I mean, it's cool.
Mando number 5, Jar Jar Zeke. Yeah, this is fun.
That is cool.
Okay, well, I mean, I would trade back for a Pickens worthy.
Who is this for? It's Kyler Wren's.
Mm-hmm. I'd trade back for either of those names.
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy with that as well.
I don't think anyone else on the team really makes it worth it for you, for your time. We're not going to do it for Leggett. Not going to do it for Blake Corum or Aaron Jones. Yeah, I think that's the only way that would make sense. The 106 we have, but the 107... Let's see who has the 107. That would be Raise the Roof, which they are currently... Number 8.
This one might be a little bit tougher.
Yeah, this is unlikely to work. The only thing I can think of is a McBride. So, for example, the 103 plus Trey McBride, and you're going to send them the 107 plus McBride. You're going to send the 103 and Dalton Kincaid, just as an example. If there's a player they really want to target, you might need to add something as well from your squad. You know, do you throw in... I mean, would you throw in, like, the 303 to make that happen? I think I would.
Yeah, I would.
Just as an example. I think we can also look at the 108 just for the sake of this exercise.
That is Mando 5. A couple of different options here. Yeah, I mean, there's the Jordan Addisons, the Ayuks, the Jerrys.
I would do it for either of those. Addison, Ayuk. One of those names would... Oh, Bucky as well. Let's see if we can whip something up here. Plus Jordan Addison. I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do this for Ayuk for sure as well.
Yeah.
He has Bucky, so I'm wondering if we can go the 103 plus the 203 for the 108 and Bucky Irving. Would love that. In fact, that's one of my favorites that we've talked about. So again, like let's just say in this world you do send the 103 and the 203, just playing out this scenario, right, for the 108 and Bucky Irving. Well, at the 108, you're still going to get a player in this range that we're talking about here. So let's just say, for hypothetical sake, you end up with Travion Henderson, you end up with Egbuka, and then at the 108, you also grab a Colson Loveland or something. You know, you get one of these combinations with those 3 picks after you trade for Bucky Irving, just in this scenario, right? Yeah. Well, then you'd have Henderson, Bucky. You'd add Egbuka, Loveland. Henderson, Bucky, Egbuka, Loveland. So then you'd have Henderson, Bucky, Charbonnet, Benson, Brooks. That's a much better running back room. You would add, like we said, Egbuka to Marvin Harrison, McMillan. At least you're getting a little bit deeper there. And then you'd add Colson Loveland to a tight end room that desperately needs it. That's just a hypothetical, right? We can't tell you exactly what will happen, but I think that's your best route personally. I do think the 102 to the 107, maybe 8 range is all one huge tier. I don't have a strong conviction after the 101. So yeah, I think that could be the best way to maximize your value. But even if you were to stick and pick, let's say you got a Hampton, you know, a Henderson, Egbuka, Royals, you can still, you know, build some potential really important pieces to your team long term. As far as tiering down from Bo Nix, I think that's probably the next thing we can look at here.
Yeah.
So again, I probably want to build around Bo Nix personally. Do you have this highlighted or something?
Didn't mean
there
to.
We go.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. But he is looking to tier down to a young wide receiver and pick. So let's find a team that is quarterback needy. For example, Dark Helmet. After Josh Allen, there is nobody. Could you do like a Brian Thomas trade? I think that might be difficult. I don't think anyone wants to send away Brian Thomas. But what about a Dunze, Hawkinson, and a pick?
I think I'm happy to do that. Genuinely, I think a lot of people are going to be hard pressed to move Rome now with Ben Johnson news. But yes, I think it is something I would do. I think trying to sell Rome, trying to buy Rome now on the low is going to be impossible.
Yeah, because unless you're offering a guy who just finished top 5 as a rookie at the quarterback spot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not enough. I would do it for T. Higgins as well, but either one of those names. And then
Albert.
The only issue is I don't think their picks are going to be that impactful, but let's say you add a 27 first. Okay. I mean, that doesn't even feel like enough for Bo Nix, to be honest.
It's because I just think it's because of the at least in my eyes, it's because still of the uncertainty of Rome Odunze for me.
Yeah.
Like what Bo did and like the way we envisioned the Broncos building around Bo is like I don't want to sell him. I would say this. We're happy to do. I'm not saying we're not going to do this for you, Sean. Shane. If you want to do this move, you have to do this during the NFL, like either after the season, after the NFL draft happens. Okay, like don't sell Bo Nix now without them hypothetically going out and getting T. Higgins, without them drafting a Caleb Johnson, without them getting another tight end, right? Like wait until that happens and then sell for an absolute haul. You can do that now, or you can sell for an even higher haul or bigger haul later. But anyways, just that I was thinking.
Get Garrett Wilson a couple picks. I think that would make a lot of sense as well. From Mando, raise the roof. I don't think there's a deal that makes sense here. Maybe a McBride Waddle.
Ray, what first does he have? What pick does he have? Probably not in this draft that we want.
Yeah, and the issue is not everyone's gonna value Bo Nix the way Badaki and I do. So,
well, that's the thing.
You might find it difficult. How about like a JJ McCarthy first Chuba, like something like that. JJ McCarthy plus Chuba Hubbard plus a first. That's another idea. You can still tear down, stay at the quarterback position. This guy's got absolutely no one. I mean, could you do a JSN? And I mean, definitely get this guy's future first. His 26 first, his 27 first. Could you do that? JSN plus 26 plus 27 first from Jar Zeke or whatever his name is. You know, how willing is he in a very obvious rebuild to even do that? I think those are your main options if you're going to tear down. All these other teams don't seem like desperate to make a move.
Yeah. I think this is great. I think what we have here is pretty solid. And I know you want to try and compete next year. And I would just say don't force it. Let the draft come to you this year, and don't be like, oh, I'm going to draft all these guys or trade all these picks and try and get Ashton or try and get these wide receivers. Like, you were full rebuild last year. You're still a full rebuild this year. I'm assuming we probably told you that, right? You would probably say, hey, go out and get some of these players because you said we reviewed your team. I don't remember what exactly we said, but if you were in a similar position and had this team, we probably said, use these draft picks and you're going to be 2 years out to compete. And this is going into the second year of you still building. So,
Yeah. All right. My favorite trade is the Bucky Irving trade. I'm a big fan of that. Also love the idea of getting a Trey McBride. What's a couple of trades you want to highlight?
Let's do two Bo Nix ones. Give him some variety here. I would say the JSN and both first. So I think it's pretty exciting. Okay. And then let's do Roma Dunze if you can do it as well.
Yeah.
And TJ Hawkinson because of now the new Ben Johnson move.
Yeah.
But Shane, let us know if you have any questions, man. We can give the floor to you really quick.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we move on?
Please let us know, brethren. But that was fun. Enjoying, reviewing your team. Sorry we don't have MFL compatibility, but I think it's more on MFL side, if I'm not mistaken, from what we've talked about with our developers.
Yeah, but you will receive this this Dynasty digital playbook within 48 to 72 hours in the Flock fantasy message system there, Shane. So definitely stay tuned for that. You'll see that digital copy of all the information that we bought here in the chalkboard and everything as well. But we appreciate the support, man.
Yeah. He says, like the Rome deal, appreciate you guys' help. No questions. Love. Appreciate you. Very kind of you, man. I'm glad that is helpful. That's all we want to do, is be as helpful and as honest as possible. All right, let's go to Famsler next. Famsler is next on the deck.
Canceler. Appreciate you, Famsler. Let us know if you are here as we getting ready to review this team, and I'll read this context here. It says, have a decent amount of draft capital and don't have a great outlook for 2025 in terms of competing. QB position is super weak in a super flex league and wondering whether better to buy with picks or try to hit on draft. Very top heavy league, so hard to see myself competing in 2025 or 2026. Okay. This is a super flex 12 team start 10. So we have another middle ground team here.
Starting lineup. Yeah.
Meaning you can start up to 5 wide receivers or 5 running backs in that flex position. Well, 3 flexes and then 2 at each position, of a way you want to see that there. But let's have a look at this team. And your team name is Purdy Nails Bad QB. Okay, and you are currently ranked 4th.
Not bad.
According to Zach's rankings here. All right, let's have a look. Brock Purdy, Joe Milton, DTR, right. So your quarterbacks aren't the best. You have Brock Purdy, and really that's it in a super flex league. And going into a 2025 class that doesn't have a really strong quarterback class, which is unfortunate. Chase Brown downtown, Jalen Wright, Jonathan Brooks, Isaac Crandon, the list goes on here. So you have to hope that the Bengals don't draft another running back. Jalen Wright takes a big step going into the 25 season, and Jonathan Brooks is already 2 ACLs in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
At the wide receiver room, once again, you can start up to 5 wide receivers: Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Lam McConkey, Xavier Worthy, Shakira, Cedric Tillman, and then the list goes on. So not really top heavy at the wide receiver. Well, 3 wide receivers maybe. We are excited for with Xavier Worthy, and then at the tight end position, Dalton Kincaid. Very disappointing.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least we have our a lot of draft capital here. Like that's gonna be a big part of this rebuild, and he's got a good amount of it. He's got 2 firsts in 2027. And yeah, I just think it's going to be crucial to whatever we do moving forward, because right now, just the team overall is not in a great state, I'd say. I mean, if you think through the starting lineup, you're starting Purdy. I guess you're not going to start someone else in the super flex, right? You're starting Chase Brown. I don't think you have another starter. Maybe Jalen Wright. You're already weak there. Starting Amon-Ra, Lad McConkey. That's great. But then Kincaid, can't rely on him. And then we need to find 4 more starters from this team. Worthy, Shakir. I don't know where else to go. So a lot of work to be done still. I do think though this is closer to a 1-year punt than the previous guy. It really isn't.
No, I wouldn't agree. I still think that it's a full rebuild, just because
the only reason I was gonna say that is because the picks feel more impactful at the 102. But you're right.
I feel like if this was a strong quarterback class, I would be like, okay, you can be like, if this was last year's class and you just had Brock Purdy had the 102, 710, be like, okay, we can get a quarterback. We're probably gonna get a good wide receiver here, and you're just going to build in your running backs next year, you know? But yeah, this is full rebuild for me.
Yeah, still. I think it's full rebuild still. I mean, if you had the quarterback room of the last team, it would be a different scenario. But yeah, your quarterback room is in a rough spot. And he said it was top heavy. So you got a team that has Allen, Nick Stafford, Saquon Taylor, Kyron, Chuba, Puka, Neighbors, Higgins, Terry, Bowers. I mean, yeah.
This year just got lucky. He didn't even get lucky. I mean, he had talent. He hit on Bo Nix, which was great. He got Malik. He got Brock Bowers, and they all just went crazy this year in fantasy, essentially.
Made the right picks with the picks available. Yeah, this is full rebuild still, for sure. You're right. I guess Amon-Ra is untouchable, but I'm not sure they're, like, in his scenario, I wouldn't be opposed to using Amon-Ra in a trade. But I guess Amon-Ra is untouchable, and then I'd put his future first-round picks as untouchable as well. I wouldn't move your future first for anything. Let's control that destiny there. As far as holds, Jalen Wright seems like a strong hold. Malik Washington's a strong hold. And then as far as drops, you can drop Jalen Brooks. You can drop John Mechie if you need room. You can drop Jalen Hyatt pretty easily. You can drop Frank Gore Jr. if you'd like. You can drop Josh Dobbs. Those are all very easy drops. And
Frank
by the
Gore,
way,
the top 5 pick, something like that. What did you say?
Frank Gore Jr. No, someone last year said he was going to be a first-round pick in our community. And we were like, all right, dude. Yeah. By the way, we forgot to tell people how they can get their team reviewed, and someone asked. So let me just quickly, I forgot to actually do that in between reviews. But the first option is by becoming a yearly Motherflocker member with the promo code LAND. All right, I think that is the best bang for your buck, no question about it. Again, have to use our promo code LAND. Have to be a yearly Motherflocker member. When you do that, you get a free team playbook. All right, and this team playbook is completely customized to your league. It's a game plan for your offseason, specifically customized to all the moves that you should make. Not only do you get the team playbook, the live review, you also get our 2025 rookie report, which is already up on the website, and V1 is already available for your viewing We will obviously be updating it as the Senior Bowl ends and all that kind of stuff. But you also get all the premium tools on the website and discounts on any future team reviews. Now, the other option is by just purchasing one a la carte. Regardless of what promo code you're on, you can purchase one through the Flock Fantasy Store. If you only want to purchase a team review, go to team review, Zach and Badaki, and if you want the live version, it's $10 more than the base model, than the baseline one. Okay. We talked about drops. We talked about holds. Now let's grade this team overall. I think the draft capital is an A+.
Yeah, I agree.
The team overall, I mean, you remove the draft capital, this is one of the worst teams in your league easily. But
yeah, this is worse than the other team. This should be less than the C in my eyes.
But he has more draft capital than the previous guy. The previous guy didn't have a future first in 26.
Fair.
I would still say C flat. This is a C flat team.
Okay.
I think.
C flat team.
Yeah. I'd say C flat still in my mind.
We can go with the C flat. So C flat for team grade and then A+ for draft capital. All right.
And let's have a look at that draft capital. Because hopefully that is going to be crucial in helping us move this from a C to an A at some point, right? So good amount of draft capital, which is great. I'm definitely going to suggest the second option, which is maximize value here for your team in particular. This is not a strong quarterback class. I know you need quarterback, but if you take a quarterback at the 102, I think you're going to regret that. I don't think that's something that you will be happy with long term. So yeah, I definitely think I'd like to tier down, but I mean, let's just play out the world where we do stick at the 102. It'd actually be very, very similar to the previous team at the 103, where you have, you know, a whole different, just so many options available to you. Basically, I think this tier is so deep. It's so many names that I really don't mind which one you acquire. But let's just say McMillan is the name there. I mean, I think the 107 is the same tier. All these players fill up this tier in different orders, right? So, and then at the 110, you're more looking at
tight ends, maybe Mika Mbuka.
Yeah, Henderson, Judkins, Igbuka, Golden, Loveland, Warren, the quarterbacks. At the 202, you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier as well, but kind of still in that like BPA running back type of situation. Jalen Royals, Neal, Golden, like that kind of range, I think.
Yeah.
And then as we go further along, it's really impossible to say at this point exactly what the right call is, right? So, yeah. I mean, you could build a nice squad, right? Let's say you went Tet McMillan, and everyone loves Tet, and then you came back and you got Travion Henderson. You came back at the 110, and do we have a tight end that we like here? I don't think so, if I remember right. Loveland. Then you get Royals and, you know, Devin Neal. I don't know, right? I mean, that's a pretty decent haul.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You've got two running backs in Henderson and Neal that could potentially help, along with Chase Brown. I mean, who knows what if they go to Cincinnati anyway? That could be tough. You add a name like Tet McMillan and Jalen Royals to an already decent wide receiver room, and you add a tight end that we believe in long term, because Kincaid was the biggest disappointment of the year. So that's fine. And honestly, I don't think you tier down from any of these picks outside of the 102. So it'd be the same in option 2, it'd be the same thing outside of the 102 itself. And if we were to use the 102, let's talk about some potential teams that we could trade down with.
Yes,
So
let's have a look here.
I think let's start from the bottom and go up. So let's start with Sloppy Steaks. They have the 111. I don't think I want to tear down that far. Run It Back Turbo has the 101. We Are Tua Anon has the 109. I mean, I do like a McBride. plus the 109, and we would send the 102 plus the 202. I would do pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm really happy with that, actually.
311. It looks like a lot of these picks might be consolidated onto like one team. So this might be
These are top heavy
difficult.
teams.
As in, like, everyone's roles are very defined, is what it looks like in this league. Ritter's Digest has the 108. Could this be a great opportunity to buy low on a Penix, a Marvin? Maybe. 108 maybe. Plus Michael Penix. And then you're going to send them the 102 plus the 202. So pretty much the same deal for McBride. I'd be willing to do that for sure, especially considering your needs at quarterback and how weak this quarterback class is. I like buying the 24 quarterback class if possible.
Yep, I'm there with you.
We talked about Penix. What about the same deal for Marvin Harrison? I would do that.
Yep, I'm there with you. It's still good buy low right now.
And then the difficult part is all these guys up top who are just absolutely dominating the rest of your league have all the control. All throws lead to Rome. This guy has the 104 and the 105. Could we do the 105 and Adunze, for example?
Yep, I'm like that as well.
If that's possible, I would do it. I think you probably end up having to add like at least the 212. Right? To make that work. I don't know that there's another option there. Like London's going to be worth too much right now. What about Trevor? I mean, what about the 102? He has a 112. 102 for the 105 plus Trevor Lawrence. And we'll send you the 102 and the 206.
Yeah.
I think that could make sense. And again, trying to find ways to get you a little bit more quarterback help. The guy who has the 106 does have Rashee Rice. I think that's the only piece that makes sense there. I don't think there's another. I mean, I don't see one. Do you see another pathway here?
Who's the guy with the 106?
Mills Mafia.
Mills Mafia. Let's see. Okay, yeah, 106.
I don't see another in here.
Can you get the, yeah, 106. Yeah, I agree.
All right, and that is probably your max options to tier down if you were to tier down. Now, again, looking back at your team, like we said, full rebuild. I am not opposed to moving off of Chase Brown. Again, you know, in a rebuild, I get like why teams who are wanting to compete right now want to hold on to him. But if I can stay in the same tier as where everyone else views him, I don't see a reason not to do that. I mean, let's have a look. Where does KTC have Chase Brown?
I'll tell you right now. He's running back 11.
Running back 11. Okay. So right now, oh my God, that gotta be a joke. So JJ McCarthy's in the same range. That sounds insane to me. So, I mean, let's just put that down. If that is possible, then yes, please. That would be perfect for your rebuild. Bryce Young. I would do it for Bryce Young as well. I don't know about you.
Agreed. 1,000% I'll do it for Bryce Young.
I mean, again, if you can just somehow take advantage of this sort of window that you currently have. Yeah.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence is there. What is Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. I think Trevor is a less risky long-term prospect or asset, rather. Yeah, that could make sense a lot. El Tigre says, have y'all heard of the Dynasty Land Gang startup draft that's going down right now? Is that
We wish.
is that a whole bunch of people from our community who started a Dynasty League? I think I've heard of that.
Is it actually LT Gray? Is that happening right now? Can you send us the link to that?
Send us
Can
the
you-
draft board on Discord.
Yeah. I would love to see the draft board if you're in it.
Yes, send us the draft board.
Oh, wait, maybe Daniel Macy is in it. Daniel Macy, if you're still here, send us that link. Because I think Daniel Macy, Styles was going to be in that, which Styles is not in. So they're locked in right now into that draft.
100%. Awesome, Alejandro. Appreciate you, man. Very
Appreciate
kind.
you, man.
Excited to have a look at that this week.
Grizzleton is in. I know they probably can't send a link through here, can they?
No, that's why I said Discord. Message us on Discord.
He says send. Let's see.
Let's look at it after we review this team, though.
Yeah.
Is there another piece that you want to? I know we've gone in depth already, but is there another piece that you'd want to move off of right now? How high is Worthy on KTC? What is he ranked right now?
He's wide receiver 25. So
that seems pretty high.
He's around Chase Brown area. Chase Brown overall 58. Worthy overall 66.
Interesting. So does that make Brandon Ayuk a tier down? I mean, would you rather have Worthy over Ayuk? I think that's kind of crazy.
Would I rather have Worthy over Ayuk? No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So looks like a lot of people are viewing it that way. Not anti-Worthy, just that doesn't feel realistic to me. Guy averaged 11 points per game. I mean, and Hollywood, Rice all went down with injuries. I'm not sure I understand that. So Judy's a tier down option. Josh Downs is a tier down option. I'd say Downs, Judy, Reed, Ayuk. Downs, Judy, Reed, Ayuk. Let's look at the teams that have those names as tier down options. So who has Josh Downs? Because I think you get a good amount of return for Downs. Excuse me.
Let's see.
Ritter's Digest has him.
Down.
Would you try and get like the 108 here? For example, 108 Josh Downs, and we send the 212 and maybe the 212. Would you do 212 there? I mean, I'm not making much sense here. Worthy and the 212 for Josh Downs and the 108. I would do that.
Yes, I would.
Okay. How about Jerry Judy? Who has Jerry Judy on this? Oh, it's the same guy. Would you do the same deal
as well? Yeah, I would do the same deal as well. There's a couple good options right there, actually.
Yeah. All right. How about who has Brandon Ayuk? I think that's insane that you can tear down to Brandon Ayuk right now in the community. That might be the best move people can make right now.
Let's see, Ayuk, Brandon Ayuk, running back turbo.
They have the 101. I mean, would you do like a 102 plus Worthy for Ayuk in the 101 and then sell the 101 for a farm? I doubt that's even possible.
I mean, like, if you can get it done, sure. But yeah, I would find that really impossible. I don't think that person would want to tear down, not get a running back, you know?
I don't think so either. What about...
I mean, I would like pay more. I would do Worthy. I would do like the 102 and the 107 and Worthy to get Ayuk in the 101. Like, that's how much I would pay for the 101 because that's how much I believe you can get in return.
Yeah.
Like, you can get even more in the 101.
It's a tough road to paint right now. How about Jaden Reed? Who has Jaden Reed?
I think that the guy. Oh, no, not that guy. I thought the same guy that had what's his name had him.
No, it's Mills Mafia. He has a 106. Mike Evans, James Cook, Worthy plus Jane Reed. I don't know that this makes sense. I don't know what name to say. Yeah, this one doesn't make much sense, I don't think. Unfortunately, that one is not going to work. But
I think that's a lot of great options.
A lot of great options. I really love the Michael Penix deal. I'd also be obsessed if you could turn Chase Brown into JJ or any of these quarterbacks.
I'd be happy with that.
Is there two others that you want to highlight here? The Ayuk one feels pretty. Oh wait, the Judy Downs ones feel pretty strong, but
yeah, let's do that one. Let's do both of those. Or we can do the Trey McBride one to give a variety.
Yeah, cool. I like it. A lot of great options. Like we said, still full rebuild, but I think if this year goes right, if this offseason goes right, you're more like a one-year punt direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I think we've given you a lot of great options. Again, is the team exactly where we want it to be? No, but you can see it's not an accident that I highlighted two trades where you get a quarterback. The Penix deal, the McCarthy deal. You kind of just need to put yourself in a position where you have a little bit more depth there, and I wouldn't do it from this class if I could help it. Like, sure, if Cam Ward falls to the 110 and he's actually a first-round pick, then sure, go crazy. But I don't think the 102 is where I'd spend a quarterback this year. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Again, your team playbook is going to be sent in the DMs within 72 hours, my friend. And if anyone out there, has any errors on graphics or hasn't received it within 72 hours, just DM us on Discord or email us at fantasylandfootball@gmail.com. We will absolutely get it all sorted out for you. But if you want your team playbook, you want it completely customized to your league, a game plan for your offseason, best way to get it is by being a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. Yearly members get the best bang for the buck. They get the team review. They get it live. They also get our 2025 rookie report, all the premium tools on the website, and then discounts on future purchases as well. Now, the other way is you can, go to the Flock store and purchase one a la carte. If you want to, doesn't matter what promo code you're on, you can still get a team review from us. Just make sure you choose the live tier if you want to get it live streamed. Otherwise, it will be offline. All right, we do have this sleeper draft. Let's have a geese, shall we? So right now, I wish I could go in the chat and say something in the sleeper chat, but let's have a little look. See, shall we? Let's see. Okay, so
biscuits on the clock.
This is all of the people who have supported us for a long time. This is awesome. This is a great group of people. I love T-Gray going with my guy Jaden Daniels at the 101. Come on, baby, talk it up. Put some respect on his damn name. All right, I like these starts. So this must be the 101 here from Don.
Yeah.
Or no, it was a trade. Brizzleton and Don traded, so Brizzleton has the 101.
Are you still here, Brizzleton? Let us know what you did that trade for. I'm curious.
Burrow, Thomas, I like that start. Chase Stroud. Stroud feels a little early for me. Mahomes, Herbert, our neighbors. May Williams from Sammy with the Bowers start. That's actually not a bad start at all, actually. And Aselmo with the alternate strat here. Amon-Ra, Puka, McBride.
Aselmo loves doing that too.
Yeah.
And then he'll just get quarterback.
He's built some good teams from it. Well, that's fun. That's always fun to look at.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Tell everyone that they all did terrible. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. Sorry, I was quickly refreshing YouTube, and then I saw a comment from someone saying that the trade video for Bucky Irving was clickbait. It was rage bait. And,
it was rage bait.
Yeah.
Well, that's just classic, isn't it?
Yes. The Dynasty community, notoriously very good at hearing another person's opinion and being respectful with it. Awesome, Alejandro. We appreciate you, my friend. We'll definitely get to your review this week, no doubt about it. And yes, Jonah, as a yearly member, anytime you guys renew as yearly members, you get another review each year, right? But I did want to get to these trade questions real quick because I don't want to forget about these trade questions. They're very easy, very quick. So Shy Dog here has a trade question. They would send away Jonathan Brooks and get Jordan Addison. And I'd like to talk to the person who is receiving Jonathan Brooks and ask them if they're okay, if they need any help, if they need to see someone, and just if they have any friends in their lives that maybe they, I don't know. It's just, this is not a good trade. So I'm going to say it's definitely Jordan Addison by a mile.
Yeah, I completely agree. Jordan Addison. Thank you for your service, Jonathan Brooks. And then there wasn't even service that was given for Jonathan Brooks. It was just disappointment.
All right, this is a big trade here from Meet the Flocker. They would be giving away the 103, the 102 Rashee Rice and Sam Laporta, and they'd be getting back Jamar Chase and Chris Godwin. But basically, the way you view this is like, let's put names to that. That's Ted McMillan, that's Amarion Hampton, or Luther Burden. I don't know, whoever that might be, right?
Well, let's have a look at his team. I mean, this guy that is giving up Chris Godwin and Jamar Chase. I'm just trying to make sure I'm reading this right. So they have Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, CJ Stroud, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown. They don't have a strong RB2 outside of Chase Brown. So giving up that 101, 102, 103 is you're giving up one of those running backs. You get Jamar Chase, though. You have Nico Collins. Yeah, Nico Collins, Jamar Chase. You would have, and this is a start 10. And they have Travis Kelce. So, like, you're giving up Sam Laporta.
Where's Rashee Rice? I don't know that I want to do this. So his team is I'm your Huckleberry. So he gives up Laporta, which he doesn't need because he has McBride. He gives up Rashee Rice, but he would get Jamar Chase along with Justin Jefferson and Monroe St. Brown. And then he gives up the 10. Yeah, he already has Bijan, Achane, Kyron, Derek. I mean, this might actually make a lot of sense.
How'd you check the team? How'd you do that?
There's a tab that says team.
Is it? Oh yeah, wow.
But
I've never noticed. That must be new. That's awesome.
I'd like to counter slightly because I don't really want Godwin. I need something other than Chris Godwin here. Like a Chase Brown instead. I'd rather take a shot on. Like a DK Metcalf. Right? I mean, I think Chase Brown is probably the best middle ground. I like Chris Godwin. I love him, but ultimately I just don't know where my confidence can be on him, given he's a free agent, given he broke his ankle. That's very important to a wide receiver and their ability to cut. So my counter would either be remove Chris Godwin and Sam Laporta, or to add Chase Brown instead of Chris Godwin. But overall, I can see if Meet the Flocker wants to go all in, why it could make sense to do the Chase Brown deal. So, yeah, I can definitely see how it can make sense.
Yeah, 100%. I can understand that now.
All right, we have another trade question here from Cheney Jeffrey. Any player or pick swaps? So it looks like the 104, 105 Purdy Kincaid, they would receive Daniels and a second and Pacheco. Quite frankly, I'm shocked that Jaden Daniels is this affordable.
Yeah, I mean,
This is Jaden Daniels
I would agree.
easily, right?
I would agree. Jaden Daniels, 104, 105. I mean, there's probably two running backs that probably Jaden Daniels most likely outlast him. Maybe even a wide receiver.
I mean, if you can have like a Ben Sinnott thrown in, I think that could maybe even sweeten the cake a little bit. I like him as a real nice stash right now. Adonai Mitchell is not a bad throw in there as well. But you could even try and move instead of the early 2nd and 25, you could try the 111. But overall, I think this is Jaden Daniels pretty easily.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All right, just wanted to catch up on those trade questions.
What's happening, Proofy? What's happening, Styles?
Alejandro says, appreciate y'all for the review. What time y'all normally go live? We typically go live at like 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time most nights, and then we'll do a review and then we'll do a mock draft and then the reviews afterwards. But we'll definitely get it done this week. And what I try to do is I try and send a message to you guys before we go live if we plan on reviewing your team. That way, you know when you can be there if you'd like to and that kind of stuff. So
by the way, Alejandro, since you are here with us, I was just having a little sneak peek at your team, and I noticed that you didn't link your team, which is fine. Can you please send us your sleeper ID?
Yeah, send your sleeper ID in the My Reviews message tab.
Yeah, so like I'll even send you a message. Send sleeper ID here, just so we can give you the best team review possible.
And I would definitely suggest anyone out there who hasn't done so yet, go to the My Teams page and link up your leagues. Let me hit refresh here. Yeah, go to the My Teams page, link up your league, right-click Add New. If you're on a sleeper, enter your sleeper ID. It's just you can enter a ton of leagues. It kind of shows where, if you're a member, you can select whatever creators rankings you want to. But
and if you did it on like your mobile, that's fine. But
yeah.
Just try and send that. I'll send you that message on the Flock Fantasy website. You should get a notification or an email saying that we sent you a message.
All right, let's go to PTW3132.
1232.
PTW3132.
Okay, let's see.
And big shout out to Colin George if he's still watching.
What are you saying?
I think he was watching on YouTube from home. He sent a message in the boys chat.
Right, I didn't see that.
All right. PTW3132. Let's read out that context.
All right. 10 team, 1 quarterback, start 2 tight ends. Unit 2 rebuild, picks on site are off. So 101 through 104 are decided in a lottery that hasn't happened yet. I have 3 of those 4. The other first is the 107. If I missed out on the 101, is it worth paying up to move up? Also, Freebirds have an old team and might be a good place to get vets to compete. Okay. So we'll have a look at this.
Depth is ultimately very important in this league because, I mean, it's about as big of a starting lineup as it gets. He is a start 11 and a 1 quarterback, which means you can start up to 7 receivers or 7 running backs. Depth is king starting lineup here. And again, he has the 104. He has 3 picks between the 101 to the 104, basically, right? I mean, so it's going to be some combination of picks, and we'll talk about that later. And he also has the 107 from what it looks like he said. What did the pick say right now? I want a Brock is his name.
Yeah, I want a Brock is his name. He's first out of 10 according to your rankings.
So the 109 is actually the 107, I guess, is what he's saying.
I'm assuming.
Okay, cool.
Unless he says I also have the 107. The other first is the 107. Yes, okay.
So he's got a ton of draft capital to work with here.
So the 101 to the 104 could be anything within that 101. So he could have the 103, 102, 104, and not the 101.
Yeah.
Right, okay, that makes sense.
Let's hope that these picks are right on this site outside of the first round, because he's got a ton of draft capital. And I just want to set this up real quick before we actually read his team, but the draft capital is very strong. A lot to work with. I might be interested in trading some of the draft capital away because I don't really have a strong conviction in the second round or the third round of this year. But anyway, these benches must be huge. Look at how many players he's got. I mean, these benches must be massive. Go ahead and read his team for us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Keep in mind, this is start 2 tight ends. So, anyways, we'll have a look. Okay, at the quarterback position, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold, the list goes on. You have Anthony Richardson as well. Great quarterback room. Maybe we can sell some of these guys for some depth pieces. Maybe Anthony Richardson, maybe Sam Darnold. Maybe Caleb Williams, you keep one. Anyways, at the running back position, Wright, Spears, Corn, Brooks, Warren, Lloyd. List goes on here. Not the strongest running back room, which is unfortunate. At the wide receiver position, once again, you can start up to 7 wide receivers. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, Josh Downs, Slick Ricky, Tank Dell, and the list goes on there. So you kind of do fall off at depth. So in this league, the Darnell Mooneys are really important. The Jordan Addisons are really important. The Jacoby Myers are really important. Getting these guys on your team is pretty significant. So trying to get some of these guys is going to be big. Jerry Jeudy's, and obviously Brock Bowers and Dalton Kincaid as well.
How you
start with 2 tight ends.
This is how you rebuild a team, right? You focus on wide receiver, get an elite tight end if you can, good quarterback, and then figure out the running backs later. It's pretty good
Steve,
team.
He's here, by the way.
He is here, yeah.
That's awesome.
Which is great to have you here, man. He says huge taxi squads. How big then? How big are the taxi squads? But your untouchables: Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas. Those are your 3 untouchables. You can write down the first 2 if you want. As far as holds, I would definitely be holding Rome Odunze, Ricky Pearsall. If you need more, Jalen Wright is a strong hold on this team.
No, let's give him 4 drops because this is a deep team where we don't really need. You can definitely
drop Jake Bobo, David Moore, Elijah Higgins, Eric Gray, Isaiah Spiller.
Isaiah Spiller, you still have rostered, brother?
Zach Kuntz.
Shout out to Zach Kuntz.
Tip Ryman.
Shout out to
Josh Wiley. These guys are all dead assets. And if you need, you can drop them. You don't have to. But
yeah, I think anyone that doesn't have a rank, gone. Like, just look at it. You can see on the bottom. If it doesn't have a number, just that is the first call, and then you can just wait to see what happens next.
20-man taxis.
Wait, what? So you have these. So
are you saying there are 20 people on a taxi squad? I don't think I've ever heard of more than.
Well, that's essentially half of his wide receivers.
I don't think I've ever heard more than like 6.
So, and how long are the taxis? Is it just 2 years, or do you have like a crazy? Or do you have a crazy?
Your waiver wire must be completely bare. Their waiver wire must have like
nobody.
Tom Brady, and that's it. But yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I don't like benches this deep and taxi squads this large. It's just, again, the waiver wire, it becomes pointless. And the waiver wire should be a really fun part of Dynasty. But anyway, yeah. Again, to list them off: Tip Ryman, Josh Wiley, Foster Moreau, Zach Kuntz, Jake Bobo, David Moore, Ray McLeod, Elijah Higgins, Eric Gray, Isaiah Spiller. All these guys are easily droppable. I mean, I could go even further, but that's a good list there of names that you can drop pretty easily. Draft capital's got to be an A+. They have their own first and 26. They have a couple more. They have a second and 26. They have, I mean, a shit ton of first round picks and seconds this year. Overall team, I mean, if we're going to start this team right now, we're starting Bo Nix. We have no running backs we're talking about, so that's a problem. But then Neighbors, Thomas, Bowers, Marvin, Downs, Odunze, Pearsall, Leggett, I guess. So we really need these draft picks to come in and make an impact for this starting lineup. Overall, I mean, yeah, there's some very clear needs on this team, but this feels like close to competing in a one quarterback. You're elite at tight end. You're really close to elite at wide receiver. Got a great quarterback. I mean, you're not far away. It's just the depth. And you're definitely going to be able to get some starters at the running back position here.
This might be sleeper.
Considering the draft capital, yeah, I think this is sleeper pathway, which, again, basically means you're kind of playing with house money this year.
Yeah, a couple moves and you can definitely be competing. It's if your guys hit, you know, like if you get 2 running backs that can start and a couple guys that hit in the second round of this draft,
yeah,
that changes your team right there automatically. So
yeah, agreed.
Is there any tight end premiums, Steve? I know you said there's 2 tight end start, but you didn't say if there was premium. I know it says non-tight end, but maybe
it's a 2 tight end start. You're right. Wow.
So
yeah.
there's no premium with the tight end start. So let me just put that there. So how's that work? So wait, does that mean you have 4 flexes and just?
Yeah, he has 4 flexes and 2 starting tight ends, which makes tight ends very important. I mean, probably Colson, Loveland, and Tyler Warren are probably going to go much higher in this league.
So I just want to make sure this is correct. This is what your starting lineup is, correct? Start 11, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, and 4 flexes. Steve.
All right. While he's answering that, let's think through this draft capital. Honestly, in his league, I think I might just stick and pick at most of these spots. But again, we're just assuming right now, Steve, that you're going to get the 101. You have a 75% chance of it based off what you said. We can't guarantee, but we're kind of just assuming a little bit. I definitely think Ashton Genty's I would rock with him on this team. I think you are pretty close to competing. Especially if you pick up a name like Ashton Genty. But of course, I don't know exactly if you have the 102, the 103, 104, but we're kind of just guessing right now. You will be in this range of players. We won't consider quarterbacks at this point. But to me, I would want to hit on Ashton Genty, and I'd want to get 2 of these 3 names in Caleb Johnson, Hampton, and Henderson after that. Right? I'd want to walk away with 3 running backs with my first 3 picks, assuming the draft capital is there. I mean, look, if Luther Burden, I'm assuming Ted McMillan's going to go off the board. You know, if Ted McMillan goes to the Patriots, and we can rethink that, and if he's top 5 and these running backs don't go until the 3rd round, we can rethink all this. But assuming Hampton, Johnson, Henderson are all top 40 picks in the NFL draft, or I think you can start to build around these players here. Now, I would also say, and sorry, I got a throat lozenge in right now, guys, because my throat's killing me. I'd also say that you can definitely consider one of these tight ends at the 107.
Yeah. I think I would prioritize a tight end at the 107 potentially, depending on landing spot. Because then you can just hit on some of these guys like the Royals, the Goldens, the Neals to get more depth later on. Because
I'd even put Harold Fannin as an option in the early second for this guy as well.
Yeah, and especially with 2 starting tight ends, they actually might get pushed up higher. So like you might be in that weird range where you want to get a tight end. Let's just say you get the 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
The 102, 103, 104. I feel like one of those picks might have to be a tight end, but that might be stretching out those running backs. Because like, let's just say he gets Hampton, Caleb, and then Loveland at the 1. Like, let's just say the 102, the 101 is the 103. So he goes Amarion, Caleb, Loveland, and then at the 107, you can just get best player available. But I don't know how you feel about that.
You know your team best, but I mean, if you're telling me I have to, because I know people are really high on Tyler Warren. If you're telling me I have to get Tyler Warren in the top 4 picks in this league, but I could get Colson Loveland at the 107, then I would just settle for Colson Loveland later on. Like I wouldn't force it. I'd rather build around those running backs still, but it's close. But I mean, even in this scenario, I mean, let's say you grabbed a Devin Neal, a Golden, a Royals, a Fannin. I don't know. Like it's really hard to say exactly how your draft's going to pan out, but that's one hell of a haul for your team. You grab Genty, Hampton, Johnson, Neal. That's completely reshaping your entire running back room. You just need two of those guys to be start worthy, and Genty's definitely going to be. We also were able to add Colson Loveland or Tyler Warren, along with Harold Fannin, Matthew Golden, Jalen Royals, to an already very good wide receiver room. I mean, you have a legitimate shot this time next year to be a Thanos team.
Yeah,
assuming that, some of these players hit, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It is a start 3 wide receiver, by the way, 3 flex.
Yes, I did see that. You will see that reflected on your graphic there with depth is king. Just want to make sure it was the right stuff there. Is there any way, Steve, that you can tell us who has the 105 and 106, or is that still off? Because I can see the 105 here, but I'm not sure if that is actually correct. Can you just tell us the team name? Because I feel like if we're going to max value this, maybe that might be important to know.
Yeah,
I don't even 105. He has Kyle Pitts and Dalton Schultz. I feel like that guy instantly goes for a tight end.
Weirdly enough, I don't even know if I want to explore the second option. I kind of am in love with option 1.
Yeah, and then 106 is Trey McBride.
I think if you wanted to do a second option, because in Superflex, it's going to be easier to tear down.
I mean, look, I actually agree. I don't think you need to get max value unless you are getting the best of the best. Like if you're telling me I can go out and trade the 102 and the 103 hypothetically, once again, which I doubt, for the Maliks, the Chases, the Jeffersons, the Gibbs, sure, but you can't do that. They're most likely 3 first-round picks. In a team like this that depth is king, you need to have all these players, right?
I think like what you could do is do a combination. So use the first 4 picks to really build around your team, but the other picks you can use to trade for a vet, like the 107, the 201, the 203, the 20, right? Like what would happen if we used a 107 and went out there and got a veteran running back or wide receiver? You know what I mean? Or we use the 201 to the 203 range, and we went out and got I want to say like a James Conner, but I don't know if I would want to buy him exactly like that exact name, but can use it to go out and buy David Montgomery now, right? Just thinking through all the possibilities for this team. Would you go buy Tyrone Tracy at that price before the draft and see if it's worth it with the amount of picks you have? Are you willing to take that risk? So, or even So at the 107, what's a player we can get for the 107 in a super flex in a 1 quarterback league?
Let's see what Keep Trade Cut. I know it's an estimate, but let's see what they have. So mid first on Keep Trade Cut, Roma Dunze is valued around the mid first.
Would you add DJ Moore for the 107 with this team?
Yeah, I would.
Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, I would. They also say Jordan Addison. They say Zay Flowers. They say Rashee Rice. They say T. Higgins.
I love the Rice. I doubt T. Higgins is doable, but you could also do like the 107 plus the 209 or something and try and start a conversation for T.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We see questions about these reviews. I'll just quickly say, Andrew, if you're a member with Domain, I don't think you can switch. especially if you've already paid them and stuff, right? Like they deserve your support if you've already had a membership with them and it's not like renewing or something. But yeah, you can always go through the a la carte store if that makes sense. And there are 2 ways to get your team reviewed, Tej. First way is by using the promo code LAND and being a yearly Motherflocker member. So again, flockfantasy.com/land. Become a yearly Motherflocker member with the promo code LAND. You'll get the team review, you get the playbook, you also get the 2025 rookie report. The other option is, regardless of what promo code you're using, like we just said with Andrew there, you can buy one a la carte, regardless of what promo code you have used. Those are your 2 options, but feel free to DM us if you have any questions. Proofy says, come to the dark side. First one on me. All right. I like these ideas a lot. I think using the 107, like, again, you can just kind of see the type of team that you might be able to build between like these veterans and these young pieces, right? So again, let's say it's Genty, Hampton, Johnson. The issue is we're not able to get a tight end if we move the 107. So you need to think that through. Yeah. That's why I still think I prefer using all the first round picks and then using the second rounders to go out and get some veterans. I mean, what wide receivers in that range? I saw DK Metcalf on Flock Fantasy in the early second. Or maybe that was a 107, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like Jerry Jeudy
for DK. I was like, whoa.
Jerry Jeudy, Sutton makes sense, you know.
Yeah, for a second round, for an early 25 second.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say you got this haul of rookies, and then at the 201 and the 203, you got Monty, Tracy, Jeudy. I mean, you're definitely competing this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the options ahead of you. I would probably do a combination. I would be shopping all offseason. Probably wouldn't make a move until the draft, until April, but I'm a huge fan of the options you have available to you. Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll say is if you do get the 102, I'm not opposed to tearing down, right? So, like, if you have the 102, I don't mind tearing down from the 103 to the 106 plus a future first if you're able to pull that off. Outside of that, I'm pretty happy with this team.
Yeah. I think you just have to, Steven, really think through how you would want to go about getting a tight end. Because if in a two tight end league, I think that is crucial. Or at least that's where I would emphasize in this league. Not forcing it, but thinking about how you can get another tight end. Can you use one of these picks to get another guy, or do you have to get one of these top tight ends in the top 4? Are tight ends pushed up in your drafts or not? Do you wait a little bit? Are you happy with Harold Fannin in the early second round? It just really depends. Steve says, what do you think about trying to move Dell, Brooks, and a future second for Adams and Connor?
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, 100%. I think we both kind of feel like Dell and Brooks are just Dunzo. Unfortunate. Not Dunzo. Yeah. It's just it's just hard to just see how these guys are going to produce in fantasy in the next 2 years. Yeah. Dell just blew up his knee. Brooks just also blew up his knee. They're both going to be irrelevant for the year 25. Most likely come back in 26.
And I would just say this quickly. I think I'd rather send a future third. I think that's a pretty calm compromise considering how old Devontae Adams is. His future's completely unknown. So if you can do that for a third, I think it's a no-brainer. But yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of your team. I'm a huge fan of your future as well. You've put yourself in a fantastic position. You've rebuilt the right way, and now you've got a perfect class to build up that running back room and to potentially get another tight end.
What's his overall team grade, by the way?
Steve, please tell us if you have any questions that we didn't answer. But I'd say overall team grade, I mean, to me, B+. Yeah, it's close to an A-, honestly, because
that's where I'm at, because it just really depends on the move that he makes and how these guys hit. Like, overall the team by itself is great. Once draft capital comes in, it's easily an A minus, a flat team.
The dude with those vets needs to rebuild. I have a second and third next year, so he will want them back. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be interested if you can keep that second, especially if he's going to trigger a rebuild. I think the third is more than fair. But shoot, if he wants to give you CMC, then definitely, like, give him his future second and his future third. Yeah. Right? If he's able to, hold on. I'm just going to make these up for you. Like, if he's able to make that CMC and James Conner, there you go. I mean, that's a way to give him both his second and his third. But, yeah, I think you're in a fantastic spot, man. Please let us know if there's any questions that you had that we weren't able to cover. But, yeah, I think this draft is perfectly suited to your team needs, man.
I completely agree. Steve, and if you have any last minute questions, please let us know. But you will be receiving a customized playbook within 48 to 72 hours in the Flock Fantasy message system with all the information that we kind of spoke through here with you know, positional priorities, positional grades, your team grade, untouchables, etc., etc. So definitely stay tuned for that, and we appreciate the support, man. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, that is going to be it for today. You know how to get your team review now if you want it. I will wait for Steve here, but Andrew, you can message in site issues in Discord and ask our devs if you're able to do that. I don't know what the answer is, but only a thing is, would you try to move up to the 101 if I miss out? I think you're in a position where you definitely could. Like, Downs in the 102, Pearsall in the 102, Darnold in the 102, Kincaid in the 102, to move up into the 101, or even the 102 and multiple seconds. I think if you can get any of those done, I definitely would be willing to do it. Outside of that, like, if you don't get Genty, I think I'd be looking at moving. Well, at least you would get Caleb,
I think,
Omarion, and
I think
that or Burden. I think you'd be in a great spot still.
I think that all is going to depend on draft capital, and I know that might be difficult when that comes around.
Yeah.
But if the Marions and the Calebs hypothetically don't go to a favorable landing spot or don't get the draft capital that we expect, that 102, 103 might be looked at a little bit differently, specifically at the running back position. So trying to get Ashton at that time is like, okay, do I really want to tier back? At least for that 101. But I would agree with Zach. Like, just all depends on draft capital.
All right, Steve. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. Scuba Steve, I'm still working on scouting some rookies. So once I get through that next set of scouting, we'll update rookie rankings. And Matthew Golden's definitely going to be way higher than he was before. But anyway, guys, that's it for today. We appreciate you. To Lemon Herbert, we're going to get to your team next time out. You'll be the first review we do. But enjoy the National Championship game. We'll see you soon. Nothing but love.